Channel 2 and the American River Conservancy present the series, A Place Called Wakamatsu Farm.
We are here at a place called Wakamatsu Farm. This is the Graner house, built by Charles Graner around 1853. He arrived in Gold Hill in 1852 after traveling from Missouri by wagon train with his future wife. After their journey together to California, Charles Graner married the sister of Louisa Veerkamp. Gold Hill had quickly grown since the gold rush began in 1849. Charles Graner saw an opportunity to build his family and wealth. After prospering from the mining industry in the Placerville area, the Grainers made enough money to move to San Francisco, where he and his family invested in hotel and hospitality businesses. In June of 1869, the Grainers sold land to Schnell, who led Japanese immigrants to settle the first Japanese colony on this property. But the Japanese colony lasted only a few short years. The Veerkamps were neighbors all along. In 1873, Charles and Louisa Veerkamp acquired the house and property. They farmed the land for nearly 140 years until the Veerkamps sold 272 acres of their farm, including this farmhouse, to American River Conservancy. This is the main room of the Graner house, which was probably just one room in the beginning. By 1856, the family and business had grown, so more rooms, the second floor and the cellar, were added. Unfortunately, we don't have a picture of the Graner family, but we have pictures of the Japanese colonists, the Veerkamps, and other photos and artifacts here in the Graner house. First, we head upstairs, where you will find 3 bedrooms decorated in the way we imagine the 3 different families and people may have lived in this house. In the first room, we see how the room may have looked when the Veerkamps lived here, perhaps like May and Louis Veerkamp's bedroom in the early 1900s. Notice the foot-pedal sewing machine, which was donated to American River Conservancy by one of the Veerkamp family members. The middle room is decorated in a Japanese style. Notice the tatami floor mats that you sit on with cushions and the samurai sword on the shelf. See the writing instruments on the low table. Today, Oke-san's original headstone is on display in this room. All artifacts from the Wakamatsu colony are priceless, so they are permanently stored in a secure location elsewhere. The last bedroom upstairs is a big room with 2 windows. It is decorated to help us imagine how the Graner daughters' bedroom may have looked in 1869, just before they moved to San Francisco. Notice the storage trunks and clothes. Now we are in the cellar of the Graner house. Charles Graner and his wife quickly realized that the riches of Gold Hill were not in mining. More riches could be earned by growing grapes to make wine and brandy for sale to the miners. Records indicate the Grainers had 20,000 grapevines. The cellar was the perfect place to store wine and food because it stays a constant cool temperature all year long. Notice the replica of the Graner wine banner. You can see the chutes on the walls they used to move the grapes to the cellar, also for ventilation. The big blocks of stones that make up the cellar walls came from local quarries and still show the mason's hand-chiseled markings. The floor joists came from fir trees that grew in the Georgetown Divide. Along with the rest of the house, this wine cellar has been extensively restored by American River Conservancy. When the Conservancy purchased the property, the house was falling down and the basement was flooded. After years of hard work and a long list of supporters, now the Graner House is open for tours, events, and celebrations. In fact, you can rent the Graner House and Garden area to make your own history in this special place. For nearly 140 years, the Veerkamp family successfully farmed grains, nuts, and fruits and other products. They had cattle and other animals. The original barn was destroyed in a cyclone in the 1890s. After they rebuilt this barn in the early 1900s, this side was for hay storage, stables, and such. This other side contained the slaughterhouse and butcher shop. You can still see the tracks on the ceiling where they weighed and moved the slaughtered animals for processing. The Veerkamps also built the dairy when Malcolm and Maurice Veerkamp bought the Pino Vista Dairy, which was the last dairy to close in El Dorado County during the 1980s. No tour of the Graner House would be complete without showing this beautiful Japanese elm tree called keiyaki in Japanese. It has grown beside the Graner House for over 150 years. This tree is the only living remnant of the Japanese colonists. They actually brought it over from Japan and planted it here. It stands about 60 feet tall. It is the biggest and oldest keiyaki tree in California and is a documented champion tree in the Big Tree Registry. Here it grows between the Graner House and Event Garden, where it remains a beautiful living part of the Wakamatsu Farm story.